everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to another episode. This is episode number 266 for June the 18th, 2024, and hope everybody had a great week. And the weather is getting a lot warmer. At least here it is. And I know down in the States, especially the Midwest and Southern states, you've been having some really, really high temperatures. It's 6 o'clock in the morning here, and it is 19 degrees C, which is, let's see, 38, that's about 68 Fahrenheit, but it's going up. I mean, we don't usually get up in the morning to 19. We usually get up, well, yesterday got up and it was 13. So, yeah. Anyways, enough about the weather. We always seem to talk about the weather, don't we? Let's talk about what I've been working on. And you know that I have been working on the Underground Railroad from the book by Eleanor Burns. And I'm really enjoying working on each of these blocks, which will eventually become a sampler. I think the reason I'm enjoying it is because I'm only making one block of one kind, so it keeps my interest. And each block, basically, once I got used to the way Eleanor set up the book and set up her instructions, are going together pretty quick. So I thought I'd show you a little bit more up front and personal each of the blocks I have finished so far. So this is the basket, as it's called. I did notice in her picture of the basket, she had something else on it. Yeah, up at the top, she had a handle, but she changed it so that you didn't have to worry about a handle. And that is okay, because the handle looks like it was probably a curved piece that you applicate onto it. And to be honest, I like this more. I don't know if you could call it a stylized version of the basket, but I like it better because it's fast to put together, and it still is what it says it is. It's a basket. The next block is the bear paw. I love the bear paw block, and I have yet to make a whole quilt of the bear paw. I don't think I did. Maybe I did. Yeah, see? I make so many damn quilts, I forget which ones I've done. But anyways, I do like the bear paw. It's a nice block. Again, it's one that's not a hard block to do, although there are more pieces to cut to create one. This is the bow tie. The bow tie, yeah, is what it is. That one doesn't throw me as much. I can't see myself doing a whole quilt of nothing but the bow tie block, although if you pick your colors carefully, it could be very effective. Like I'm thinking if you did this in black and white and cream or black and white and gray, you could get a real interesting and modern effect to this block. This one I love. It's a carpenter's wheel. And of course I love it because it's got stylized stars in the corners and one in the center. This one did take a little longer to make than some of the blocks. There's a lot of little pieces, but not difficult. And I could see myself making a whole quilt of nothing but this block as well. The next one up, this one is just boring to me, Crossroads. It's basically, well, it's kind of a variation on a 12 patch? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 16 patch? I don't know. But again, that's one that you could incorporate into a quilt somewhere. But I wouldn't want to make a whole quilt of that because I think I'd be so bored after about the second block. Let's see, what's next? Okay, this one, the flying geese, I actually had a little trouble with this one. Getting the pieces square. And if you look at it closely, you can see there's a couple of the geese that I cut off the points on. Well, actually looking at it now in this picture, I basically cut off one point on one of them. So that's not bad. But it annoys me. Oh, no, I see a couple of others down at the bottom. So this one, I don't know what the difficulty was. It may have been with the instructions Eleanor Burns gave for making this block. She does flying geese totally different than the way I do flying geese, and I have a method that's a little bit faster that I've learned. I mean, I know there are different ways to make flying geese, but her method is not one that I prefer. The next one's a Jacob's ladder. Excuse me. Yeah, this can be very effective, but I think you need to pick your colors very, very carefully to get the effect that you're going for. Um, so I think in this one, you look at it and it looks like several different things when you study it. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. I think Stephanie did a whole quilt of Jacob's ladders, and hers were beautiful. Um, this one is the monkey wrench, or I think it's also referred to as the churn dash. I've never done a churn dash before. I did this one. I know it's got a little thread there on that one when I took the picture. Um, not not one that excites me, really. No. I suppose it could make an interesting quilt. This is another one. This is the shoe fly. Um, Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's one I think if my colors had more contrast to them, it could be more exciting. And by the way, the colors I have picked for this quilt all have come from several different collections of fabrics that I've had for quite a long time, and all have that 1930s feel to them. And so I am repeating colors in these blocks to tie it all together. It is a sampler after all. So I think it'll look great when all the blocks are put together. But as individual blocks go, some of them they don't thrill me like others do. And this is one of the ones that doesn't really thrill me. Now, of course, there's the log cabin. And the log cabin's fun to do. And this, of course, has the lights on one side and the darks on the other. And you can do so much with log cabin blocks. But the only thing about log cabin blocks that drives me nuts is it's very easy to get your strips out of order when you're going around. Now, it doesn't matter if you're making it scrappy, but if you're trying to have light on one side and dark on the other, you can get mixed up a little bit. So you do have to pay attention when you're making this one. It isn't mindless. And that's all the blocks I've gotten done to date. So I've got 12, I think. No, I have, yeah, no, I have 10. I have 10 blocks done, and I'm just looking behind me because I think I did one more. Yeah, I did another one yesterday that I didn't take a picture of, and that's the sailboat. I like that one. That one I could see making a whole quilt from. Now, the other thing is this, and I do call it a thing. This is the Scrappy Maple Leaf quilt. It was actually, I call it Scrappy Maple Leaf because that's exactly what I used. I just cut up um, a whole mixture of charm squares to make this. And I did a little problem. I have a little problem. Well, I think it's a problem. You see, I got a big X in the center. And where does your eye go first on this quilt? To the center. And that would have been less so if I had actually thought about this and rotated the leaves or the blocks so that at the top row, for example, I could have had the stems go outward instead of inward, and the same with the bottom, and that might have broken that up and might have given a more interesting center. Um, Although having said that, I'm not sure if it would. So when you first look at it, after you've gotten over the X, you probably don't see maple leaves. You probably see a giant star. And the way the colors came out, like I said, this was scrappy. I didn't pay a lot of attention to where colors were placed next to each other. So on some of the end points that come out to the border, their point disappears because of the busyness of the background that I picked. I wanted to break away from doing a white background, and I had this fabric. Now, this picture doesn't show it that well, but it's basically a white with a black swirl to it. Um, and then, of course, I put the sashing in, and I used some cornerstones to break that up. And I had, for the outside border, I had some of, from my O Canada collection, this black with a, I don't know what you call it, light brownish tan maple leaf, a little tiny maple leaf all the way around as the border. I did originally think that I could take some of my extra charms and cut them into 2.5 by 2.5, no, 2.5 by 5 inch rectangles and do a multicolored border all the way around. But then I thought, well, the quilt's kind of busy now with all these different colors. That might just suddenly make it a real muddled mess. So it is what it is. Do I like it? Not really. I don't hate it, but I'm not in love with it. Now I'm thinking, you know the expression, it'll quilt out. Well, I am thinking that there is an opportunity here to do some custom quilting in the center X block, which might, if I use a bolder color of thread, may take your eye away from it. And then in each of the squares up in the corners at the top of the maple leaves, I could do something custom there as well. I say I could. Anything's possible. What will I do? I don't know. It depends on how complicated that is for me to set that up on Lucey, because to date I have not done custom quilting with Lucey. I have played around with it a little bit on some practice pieces, some practice sandwiches. And that was a while ago, because I've got a quilt hanging up in the Lucey room that I do intend to do different motifs in each block. So that's custom. And I just haven't got to it yet. My UFOs are starting to pile up. I used to pride myself on the fact that I never had UFOs. Guess what? Those days are over. I have UFOs. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. And I've, of course, if I don't have enough projects, so I have this to quilt. I have a couple of other quilts to quilt. I have the railroad, Underground Railroad, to get the blocks done and get that into a quilt. And I'm now working on Halloween. And this is an In the Hoop project. And I love In the Hoop projects. And I haven't done one of these tiled scenes in quite some time, because that's what it'll be. There are, I believe, 12 blocks for this. Each block takes several hours to make. And as I speak, there's a block number 5 is sitting on my embroidery machine. I started it yesterday, amongst other things I was doing, and I haven't got it quite finished. So I'm working at it. Each day I'm trying to get a block on the embroidery machine and work on it. But of course, I'm doing another project. And the other project, which I do not have, do I have a picture of it? Oh, where did that come from? Oh, that's another block that I did. It's called Birds in the Air. Yeah, okay. It's another one for the jungle thing. All right, let's go back here to this. I got my pictures out of order. It figures. Anyways, yeah, as I was saying, these take a couple of hours a piece to do, but they're fun. They are fun. And it is applique, but machine applique. And I just enjoy doing it, so I'll just plug away at it. But the other project that I have is also an In the Hoop project, and it is a tote bag, but you make it in the hoop. And it'll take a little bit of time too. I have done one of those kind of projects before, and I don't have anything to show you right now because I've just done one little panel on it. So probably next week, if all goes well, I'll have something more substantial to show you on that project. But yeah, and I just got another project to do, which is a project I'm going to be doing with Stephanie Stitches. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you anything more about it. I don't think it's a big, deep, dark secret. But I won't say any more about that, but you'll hear about it on her channel probably. Well, you'll see it anyways, next Saturday in the afternoon on Stephanie's Live. She's got several of us coming together to work on this project. And that's all I'll say about that now, because it's Stephanie's project and idea, so I'll let Stephanie reveal it. Okay, so what else has been happening? Well, Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen every Wednesday. You hear me say that every week, several times. So join us if you've never been before and you're free. Come and go as you please. And the links for that are in the show notes. Now, pop-up sew day. I had one this past Saturday. And no, it was the Saturday before this Saturday. Okay, when did I have that? Let me think. No, it was this past Saturday. I'm telling you, I'm just mixing up my days and everything like crazy. I think because there's so much going on right now. But anyways, it's not an excuse. I'm old. What do you expect? So anyways, yes, I'm thinking of having one on Saturday, June the 29th. So that's a week from this Saturday coming. I'm thinking it will all depend on Walter's schedule because he may be doing an in-person sew day with his group of garment sewers. And if that's the case, then for sure we will have a pop-up sew day on June the 29th because Walter won't be here and I'm all by my lonesome and I get lonely. And so you guys are my company. Um, However, even if that doesn't happen, if his in-person sew day falls through, then I think I will still have it on the 29th, and Walter will be able to, at some point in the day, join us. You know, Walter doesn't get up that early. And yeah, we'll see. So I will make that decision probably this weekend. I'll probably announce that decision on Stephen and Walter Live. And then next week, the links will be up for all of that. And those of you on the mailing list will get a notice about that. And hopefully, the problem I was having with my mailing list is solved. And if it isn't on my main email client, then I know it will work for my secondary one. And that's already set up and ready to go in case I need to use it. So here we go again. You might get a couple of emails from me, or maybe not. We'll see, but we'll wait till next week. We did have an episode, as we do every once a month, of the Sewcial Review, and we're looking for suggestions for topics because we're running out. And they can be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be about sewing and quilting. We started it with about sewing and quilting, but you know, we're running out of topics for that. So we are very willing to broaden our scope. So if you have something you'd like the five of us, and that's Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches, Shannon of Slay Arts, Russ of Quilt Meets World, and Walter of myself from The Idiot Quilter. If you have something you would like us to use as a topic to discuss, we'd be more than happy to hear from you. Now, the next one is in July. I believe it is July the 10th. Let me just check my notes here and make sure because it's always the second Wednesday of every month. So let me just check here. July. Yes, it is July the 10th. And so before then, if you've got some suggestions for topics, more than one's always good too. You know, whatever you can come up with, we will take it into consideration and pick it and tackle it probably. Okay, so I did deliver my Project Linus quilts. Okay, is it just me? But these organizations, you know that I've donated now to 3 different organizations in last month, quilts, and I have not had a thank you email from any of them. From any of them. I guess those people that are involved maybe don't have a clue. Well, the one probably does because I think she's a quilter from Project Linus, but nothing. You know, if I was in charge of collecting quilts, like donations and that, or any kind of donations, I would be sure to send out a thank you note of some sort after I took delivery of those donations. I don't know, maybe I'm old school, but that's the way I was brought up. You know, you send a note. Now, in today's modern age, you send an email. I don't have a problem with an email. I don't need a handwritten thank you, but a thank you would be nice. But nope, nothing. And I think I told you at one place I got a very icy reception. That was the woman's shelter. Maybe because I'm a man, but the lady came to the door, didn't let us even walk into the front foyer. She blocked the door physically with her body. You could see it in her body language, like, you're not getting past me, bud, which was okay. I didn't want to come inside. Maybe it's because I'm a man. It's a woman's shelter. It would upset women if they saw a man in there. I don't know. I'm a man with my arms full of quilts. What a threat. The other place is a homeless shelter. that they're still working on. I don't think there's anybody living there yet. Um, but it was kind of a cold shoulder as well. It was a little warmer. Um, and Project Linus, I passed off the quilts in a driveway. Well, actually, it's a private residence. That lady's nice. I mean, she's okay. All right. But again, a thank you note would go a long way. So it makes me think, okay, maybe I need to find other places to donate my quilts. Maybe I'm being a little bit too me, self-centered about it. I don't know. What do you think? Maybe I shouldn't expect a thank you. I mean, after all, I am doing this voluntarily. I'm giving these. What do I want? A medal? Red ribbon? I don't know. A thank you. I just want to thank you. Just a nice little email that I could print out and just, file away somewhere or whatever, or hang on my bulletin board, you know. And also, I think if they did that, and I don't think it's just me that doesn't get the thank you. I think anybody who's donated anything to them doesn't get a thank you. Um, it makes people think twice about donating. You know, it's like volunteering for things. That's a thankless job. And I know there are people that will say, well, you shouldn't expect to be thanked. You're giving to them and blah, blah. You know what I mean. So I don't know. Maybe I just need to grow a thicker skin. Whatever. Okay. So let's talk about something that is very, very trendy right now. And it's the mini toolbox craze. I don't know how it got started, but the way I found out about it was from Quilting Life, Sherry McConnell. She had one on her table when she was doing one of her vlog episodes this past week, and it's pink, and it is cute. It is a cute little toolbox. And anyway, she said she found out about them from the Fat Quarter Shop. I don't know if the Fat Quarter Shop was selling them or what, but it's started a trend. People are buying these up like crazy. They're getting to the point where they're hard to get a hold of. Lowe's, Lowe's, Lowes, in the States has them in many colors. They have them in about 6 different colors, 8 different colors. And you can get them online or I guess in the store. We don't have Lowe's here. We used to, but it went out of business here in Canada. So the only place that I could find one was at Crappy Tire. And for those of you that don't know what we mean in Canada when we call something Crappy Tire, that's Canadian Tire. Canadian Tire is one of our big department stores. It's been around for over 100 years. And that's where you go to get anything you want because they have pretty much everything. So we looked it up online and sure enough, they had one, but it only comes in one color. So this was on Saturday, the pop-up sew day. People were enabling me because one of the people on there had shown hers as well. I wasn't very fond of the idea of getting a pink one, but they did have other colors. They had a nice blue. That's at Lowe's though. There's something similar on Amazon, but they wanted a lot more money for it. I think these ones in the States on Lowe's are selling them for $19.98. Here in Canada on Crappy Tire, they're $29.99. Which works out when you do the exchange rate and that pretty close. I think it's about $3 more if we were in the exchange rate than what the Americans are paying. Anyways, don't get me into talking about exchange rates. It'll boggle your mind. But anyways, here's what I bought. It's black. Okay, very manly color. They're only about 11 inches across and only maybe 8 inches, 10 inches tall. They have 2 drawers plus the top flips open where you see that little silver thing. It's my little magnetic bowl and it sticks to the top of it, but you can open that up and you have a little tray inside, and I'll show you what I mean. So there's the top opened up. It says Mastercraft because Mastercraft is Canadian Tire's own in-store brand, and they stick that on everything. So I have some tools in here, and then you have a couple of drawers. I'm getting a fair amount in them, but they're not that big. I'm putting in my tools that I reach for most often when I'm working with my 3D printers. So that was why I wanted one of these little boys. In fact, I almost bought two because I thought this would be great for putting in the tools that I use when I'm working on Lucey. But I don't think it will hold enough. It is not very deep. That one drawer at the front, at the bottom, is very misleading. It looks like it's really deep. It's not. There's an indent in the bottom of the toolbox that comes up in there so that that drawer is not much deeper than the top drawer. So, yeah. Okay. They're cute. If you want to keep it on your sewing area, sewing table or something to keep, be great for holding thread, extra needles, extra scissors, whatever. If you've got space for it. But I have a feeling that people that are buying these, and when I say people, I would say the majority of the people that are buying these are ladies. And I think the people who manufactured this, the company is called Cobalt, at least in the States. It's probably the same company that Canadian Tire buys them from. They just slap their own name on them. Because they have them in such wonderful colors, I have a feeling that that's why people are buying them. Because, and you hear everybody saying this over and over, they're cute. And yes, they are. They are cute. And I think that's why people are buying them. I don't think people are necessarily buying them with their brain. And I will admit, I was the same way. I did not necessarily need this, but it's cute. And I was having FOMO. Everybody was buying one. I was afraid I was going to miss out. So I had to buy one too. Now, mind you, if it had been more expensive, if this had been about like $50 or higher, no. My logical mind would have kicked in at that point and would have said, at that price, is it really worth it? But at $30, plus because Walter gets points. Because he shops at Craft Tire so much, he gets points. He was able to get $5 off on this. So it didn't cost me $29.99. It cost me $24.99 plus tax. So, okay, I can live with that. But I'm glad I didn't get two, because after this one came home and I started loading it up and getting it situated, I realized, not the best thing. And the other thing too is you can't stack them. Well, you can, but it means that the one on the bottom, you won't be able to open up that top storage tray. And, the top storage tray is part of, extra storage space. It's not very deep, but you can't open it up. In fact, I put that little steel dish on the top of it. It's a magnetic bowl for holding screws, and it sticks right there. I can open up that and it won't fall off. Now, and even if I put little metal screws in it, they won't fall out. So that's why it's there. But anyways, it is what it is. It just goes to show you how we can easily be sucked in by manufacturers. Make something in a smaller size so it looks cute. Give it some bright, bold colors, not black. And that makes it cute. And so you put cute plus cute together equals I have to have it. And I have it. Okay, so on Friday we put up Walter Does Lucey Part 2. And this coming Friday, Part 3 will go up, and we're getting lots of comments about the video series. One, people think it's funny. Yeah, anytime Walter and I do something together, there's going to be some hilarity, I guess. And, but a lot of people are saying too that they're learning quite a bit from me showing Walter how to get Lucey all set up. So that's good, because that was our main point of doing this series. Well, I had two agendas. One, to get Walter to get his damn quilt quilted. Now I'm working on him getting it bound, trim it up and bind it. I even made his binding for him. And was for us to also show what's involved when you put a quilt on a long arm. And I've had several people mention the fact that they didn't know that it was not difficult, but involved. It is involved. Now, mind you, in this video, what I'm doing with Walter, It's taking a little longer because I'm teaching him as I go along with it. When I do it on my own, it's a little faster process, but that's because of practice, because I've done it many times. But when you're teaching somebody else, it does force you to slow down. And that's not a bad thing, because sometimes there are certain things you forget, or you create bad habits that you don't realize. And so when you're teaching it somebody else, those become apparent. And so I'm learning. I'm learning from teaching. Yeah, I always did though. Even as a teacher myself, I always learned something from the kids, because that's the nature of education. So I'm very appreciative for the people that sent in those comments about it. Um, and yeah, this week, part 3, Walter Does Lucey. Okay, so that takes me to subscribers quilt of the week, and this came in from Jean Hoffman. This week's quilt from a subscriber is from Jean Hoffman, and Jean did my Windstars Collide quilt, and she did a wonderful job of this, and I love what she did with the border. She made it a pieced border, no doubt using leftover cutoffs from the squares that she used within the blocks of the quilt itself. You can really see with this particular pattern of mine the different look you can achieve depending on the color scheme that you pick. Here, the secondary pattern really shows up more than the primary pattern, and I think that's great. It gives the quilt a totally different look. And I love the use of the black to make the scrappy colors of the quilt pop out. But now that I look at it a little closer, it's not that scrappy because there is a plan. If you look at the way the squares have been laid out, look at it diagonally from corner to corner, and you can see down the middle there are red squares, and then next to that green squares, and the other side bluish purple squares. And she kept the colors fairly consistent in this as well. So again, there's much you can do with this particular pattern to make it your own. So thank you, Jean, for sharing this with us. So I'm out. I'm looking at my folder right here where I keep what quilts I'm going to show next. And I think I have one. No, I don't even have one. That's it. My folder's empty. I do not have any more of your quilts to show. I need some quilts. So please, and it doesn't have to just be quilts, bags, anything that you've sewn. It could even be a garment for that matter. One picture and a little blurb about it, 50 words or less. Simple. My email is there's a link to my email in the show notes. And yeah, that's all I ask. So unless I get some more before next week, there won't be, that segment on here will not exist. I may have to fill it with something else. I don't know what. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube of the week. And this is a YouTube announcing an exciting event coming up very soon, being put together by Shannon of Slay Arts on her channel. And it is a virtual retreat announcement. This week's YouTube video comes from my friend Shannon of Slay Arts, and it's an announcement video. She is having her first all-day retreat, and of course she's going to be featuring doing something that she does very well and teaches very well, FPP, Foundation Paper Piecing. And this is for those of you out there that never seem to have enough time to get those foundation paper piecing projects done. This is a bring your own FPP retreat. So just as the title says, you bring a project you're already working on, or maybe one you've had on the back burner. I suggest you go to this video and check out what Shannon is offering. She only has a few limited spaces, and I believe the date for this is on June the 27th. So be sure to check it out now because time is fleeting. But anyways, and if you haven't checked out Shannon's Slay Arts channel, you should, because she has lots of things on there about FPP and a whole lot of other things that involve sewing and quilting as well. So that's the retreat announcement by Shannon of Slay Arts. Link is in the show notes. So if you didn't know about that before, go to Shannon's YouTube channel, and she'll have a link, or her website. Slay Arts, and you can register for it. Okay, so let's see, future projects. Well, this is a project, free pattern from by Donna Jordan of Jordan Fabrics called the Little Dipper Lone Star Quilt. It looks a little bit involved, although the way she does it, there aren't any Y seams, and I think she does it all with strip piecing. I do love a Lone Star, but most of Donna Jordan's patterns are, well, they're all very well written, and usually they're pretty quick to do. However, this one I think is going to take some time, but here's what I'm talking about. This week's future project is a pattern by Donna Jordan of Jordan Fabrics called the Little Dipper Lone Star Quilt, and this is a free pattern, and there is a tutorial on the Jordan Fabrics website or in YouTube channel for this as well. Now, I love Lone Star quilts, but Lone Star quilts can be very complicated to make depending on the pattern that you have chosen to work with. Donna makes it very easy because she does the whole thing using stripped pieces of fabric, as you can see in the next picture here. And it's just a question of sewing long strips of fabric together in a certain order and cutting it in a certain way that makes the stars. And I think once you've done one of the stars, you'll get the hang of it very quickly, and you'll be able to do the rest of the quilt very, very fast. This could be a very dramatic quilt. Depending on the color scheme you wish to use, you could make it scrappy as well. And she talks about that in her video showing you how to put this all together. So yes, this one will take a little bit of time, which is a little different for Donna because a lot of her free patterns anyways are, very fast and simple. But I think this one will be well worth the time. So that's the Little Dipper Lone Star Quilt, and the link is in the show notes below. And that takes me to online quilt stores, and this one I stumbled upon at random on the internet, and it's called the Quilt Jeannie, Jeannie. I believe that's the name of the lady who has this online store, and that's why she calls it the Quilt Jeannie. This week's online quilt store is called the Quilt Jeannie, and it's located in Harriston, Ontario, and I'm not really sure where that is in relationship to where I live. I'll have to look that up. But this is one I've never heard of before, so let's take a look and see what they have to offer. So this is their front page, and you can see they have Aurifil thread, they have fabric, quality quilters cotton sold in quarter yard increments, that's important to know, and they have notions as well, and then featured products. These are pretty, look like they might be batiks. Okay, and they do have gift cards and contact information as well, along with okay, the top of their page says they were in Harriston, Ontario. Now this says they're in Minto, Ontario. I'm not sure, maybe they're right next door to each other. There's a map, but it doesn't really show me anything for my area. So let's go to fabric and let's take a look here. They have batiks, Emoda, Riley Blake Designs, Ben Nertext, blankquilting.com, never heard of them, Essential Solids, Free Spirit Designers, K Facet, and etc. So they seem to have a wide selection. They also have wide backs. So let's just take a look at let's start with their batiks. And remember, this is by the quarter meter. So we've got, that would work out to, this is $4.50 a quarter meter. So that's $18 a meter. That's an okay price. Yeah, and well, they've got a nice selection of batiks. They have 4 pages of them. Now I'm in Riley Blake Designs. Same price, $4.50 a quarter meter, so $18 a meter. Very nice as well. This one is interesting. I don't know what this is. Blankquilting.com. Now they're $5 a quarter meter, so $20 a meter. Okay, these are specialty fabrics, so you'd expect them to pay a little bit more. Some Christmas in here. A few others, not a huge number under that, but that is a company I've never heard of. Then they have solids, Free Spirit Designers. So they have Tula at, geez, that's cheap. $3.99 a quarter meter, so $16. I've never seen Tula pink that price, $16 a meter. That's really, really good. And they look like they have a fairly good selection. Yeah. So if you're into Tula pink, this may be the place to go. We'll check out shipping in a moment. We'll see how much that costs. They have Moda, and I know a lot of people love Moda. Now, Moda's a little more expensive. Funny, Moda's more expensive than Tula. That is, wouldn't expect that. So $5.50 a quarter. So that's what? That's 11. That's $22. That's on the upper end of the scale. Some pretty prints there as well, and 4 pages of them. Okay, anything else that they have? Well, of course, they have Kay Fassett, Laura Hine, Michael Miller. Let's take a look at Quilting Treasures. $4.75. Not much there to pick from. Okay, so it's worth checking the fabric out because they have some interesting ones in Tula pink. Well, Tula is cheap. Something you don't often hear those two words put together. Okay, let's take a look at their wide backs. And what do they have here? Now they're $5.25 a quarter meter and 6, so that means the price seems to range from, what's that? I got to do math here. Math hard. $21 a meter. That is cheap. That is cheap. I usually pay $30 a meter. So that's pretty darn good. Mind you, I'm looking at this. The selection is very limited. So that's it for wide backs. Well, let's take a look at notions and see probably the usual things. Pin cushion, enamel pins, a pattern, magic pins, some rulers. Yeah, usual stuff, usual price. Okay, they do have some sale items. Canadian Christmas. That looks like it might be a kit. It is $155. And then a few fabrics as well for $275 on sale, a quarter meter. Okay, not a lot in the sales items. Kits. One kit. That's the one we just saw. Okay, panels. Some Christmas panels. People like to use panels for making quick Christmas projects. Some things for making stockings. Not a great deal here to write home about. Okay, then they have their Christmas fabrics, Christmas themed. Not a bad price for these at, $3.99 a quarter meter. Pretty standard though. It's early yet. I don't know if stores are getting in their Christmas fabrics yet. It should be very soon. Yeah, not a lot here to pick from. For me, anyways. Maybe for other people there are. It's probably difficult to stock for an online store a lot of Christmas fabrics because, they are a specialty item and you're never sure how much you should order and you don't want it sitting on the shelf forever. They have a separate section for Northcott. And that includes some Christmas, mostly Christmas in it, all Christmas in it. Okay. But still good prices, $4.15 a quarter meter. That's like $16, $17 a meter. That's good. All right, let's check out their thread. They add on the front page Aurifil. So what are they charging? $18.95, and they only have 2. What's the difference between these two? What weight are they? Okay, that one that ends in 2024 is 50 weight. All right. And the other one that ends in 2000, there's one left, and it's 50 weight as well. Oh, but why are they showing this in several colors? And they say there's only one left. Well, one left what, in white or what? And how would you pick what's there? I guess you I don't know. That doesn't tell me much. That's confusing. Let's just try this one again and see. Yeah, it's only in the one color. So, okay. So basically, no selection of threads. All right, let's go down. Patterns. Okay. Really? Nothing. Is that it's a pattern booklet, jingle all the way. Pages containing the applique and foundation paper piecing. Yeah, okay. No real selection there either. So anything else that I missed? Children's fabrics. Okay, so you've got some novelty fabrics here, good price. Not much to choose from unless you're into sheep. Okay, so let's see. They do offer classes and events. No, they do not. Okay. About them. Okay, that's all we know about her. All right, I don't know if this is a new site and it's under development still. Obviously, it doesn't look like it has, or does it have a physical store? There's something on the front page and I forget what it said. You can contact them. Yes, they do have, well, do they? They have hours. Okay. Okay, you can visit them. All right, that's good. Let's go back here to their home page. And they do have an address, I think. 35 Thomas Street. So, oops, I'm not really sure whether or not that's actually a... Okay, we are located okay, where are they located? This is confusing. It says we are located in Harriston, Ontario. But here it says Minto. I am very confused by that. I have no idea where they're located. Is it Harriston or is it Minto? Very confusing. Do they have a physical store or are they operating out of a house? I don't know. Again, there's some lacking here. A few things lacking on this web page. Now, the last thing I want to see is what's the shipping? And I do not see anything that talks about shipping. They do have long arm services and a video about that. Oh, wait, maybe we'll find some. They say all classes, but they don't have any classes on their website. So they must have a storefront if they're offering classes. Well, maybe. Okay. And nothing here about what their shipping policies are. So if I do a dummy order, let's order a couple of, or no, if I want to get a meter of that, buy now. Okay. No idea. The shipping must be calculated. I'll assume that it's done by Canada Post. Okay, well, I would like to say some really nice things about this site, but I'm left not impressed. Not with their site anyways. Maybe if they do have a physical store, which I don't know anything about, maybe it would be worth visiting the store if I figured out where Harriston or Minto are. I'll have to look those up on a map. In the meantime, their selection is okay. Their prices are okay. Don't know how much it's going to cost for shipping until after you put the whole thing into your cart and set that up. They don't seem to have classes right now anyways. the site really has an unfinished feel to it. And it does kind of reek of somebody operating out of their house. I don't know for sure. So, anyways, there it is for what it's worth. You can check it out if you want to. Maybe there'll be something there that'll appeal to you. That's the Quilt Jeannie. So that's it for me today. As always, remember, So Chatty goes up on Friday. Stephen and Walter Live next Sunday afternoon. And yeah, stay tuned for lots of things that are coming up. Do check out my friends' YouTube channels. Their links are all in the show notes below, as are links to any of the things I talked about today, and also for my past videos. Yeah, I had to think about that. Okay. Maybe it's too early in the morning for me. My brain's going to mush already. No. Too much to do today. Okay. Have a great week. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.